Here we have some problems that have to do with something called the angle addition postulate. What's a postulate? Well, that's a word you don't see very often outside of high school geometry. Uh, a postulate is just a fancy word for something that is so obvious we can all agree it's true and not worry about having to prove it in any way. In this case, what they're saying is that if you have a shape like this, which is an angle, some big angle here, in this case it's angle AOC, and you cut it up with another segment through the middle so that it makes two smaller angles, that the measure of the first smaller angle plus the second smaller angle would add up to the big angle. And hopefully that's just obvious to you from looking at it, and we can all agree on it, and that's why it's a postulate. So let's look at a few problems that have to do with this angle addition postulate. Um, in this first one here, it says if the measure of angle JOL, let's see, JOL, so that's the big one on the outside, is 46. So let's just sketch that in. I always like to write those things in. So that's 46. And KOL, so that's this one down here, is 26. What is the measure of JOK? And that's the smaller angle on the top. So all we have to do here, since the total is 46 and this part of it is 26, we're just going to subtract 46 minus 26, and that equals 20. So that's what this angle must be. So the measure of JOK is 20. They get a little harder. Let's look at a couple others. This next one says, given SQ bisects RST. So let's sort out what these pieces are. RST, so that's the big angle. And SQ is this line in the middle here, and it says it bisects it. Well, bisect means to cut in half. So whatever measure this is, it's going to be the same as the measure of that, okay? So these are equal portions because it's been bisected. And it says find the measure of RST. So, that's the whole thing. So we want to find the whole thing. If RSQ equals 27, and RSQ, that's this bottom one, so this is 27. Well, since SQ is a bisector, if this is 27, then this is 27. And so the whole thing must be 27 plus 27. And that is 54. All right. One more, and this one, it still uses the same concept, but it throws a whole bunch of algebra in here. So this one gets a little trickier. This says the measure of GEF, let's see, GEF, so that's this small one here, is 2x plus 5. So we're used to seeing a number. Now we've got an algebraic expression for that. Let me just make a note of that, 2x plus 5. And it says DEF, so that's this portion down here, is 13x minus 4. So we'll write that in here. And then it says GED. Okay, that's the whole thing. So GE to D, that is 61. So this is 61. And it says find the measure of GEF and DEF, so the two smaller angles. How are we going to go about doing this? Well, we want to find out what x is. We can't get a number for these smaller angles unless we know what x is. And so we need to set up an equation. And we can do that because the angle addition postulate tells us that this angle here plus this angle here equals the total, which is 61. So that's what our equation is going to be. We're going to write 2x plus 5 plus 13x minus 4 equals 61. That's supposed to be equals. Okay, so we have an equation. We can solve this for x. Let's see, we'll need to combine the like terms first. We've got 2x and 13x. That would add up to 15x. And we've got a 5 and a negative 4, so that adds up to 1. All of that equals 61. To solve for x, we want to get the x term alone, so we got to get rid of this plus 1. I can do that by subtracting 1 from both sides. And that just leaves 15x over here. This adds up to 0, and then we get 61 minus 1, that's 60. And then to solve for x, we just need to divide by 15. So these cancel, and let's see, 60 divided by 15, that should be 4. So x equals 4. That's not our answer yet, though, because what we want to find out is the measure of GEF and DEF. Well, GEF is 2x plus 5. So we actually need to put the 4 back in for x. So 2 times 4 plus 5, that's going to be GEF. And let's see, that's 8 plus 5, that's 13. So this is angle GEF. And the other one, DEF, is 13x minus 4. So we'll put 4 in for x. We get 13 times 4 minus 4. And let's see, 13 times 4 would be 52 minus 4. I think that's 48. Might want to check my arithmetic there. So that is angle DEF. And that is what they were asking for in the problem. So we have finished that one. A lot of steps in that, but that is the angle addition postulate.